Yeah, I know what some of you guys are thinking. Zach, this isn't a big anniversary for this movie. Why the heck are you talking about it now? I'll tell you why. I'm in a production of the musical version of this movie, which opens tonight. Holy Moses, it's tonight. That was quick, wasn't it? So, School of Rock was released in theaters in the year 2003, a supremely nostalgic year for me personally. And it, of course, stars Jack Black as a down-on-his-luck, overly enthusiastic guitarist known as Dewey Finn. And as I'm sure most of you are aware, he gets thrown out of the band that he created, and he finds himself in desperate need of work, needing to pay the rent. So he poses as a substitute teacher at an elite private elementary school, and he exposes his students to the hard rock gods he idolizes and emulates once he recognizes their own natural talents. And as he teaches these kids valuable lessons, not just about rock and stuff like that, but about life, he imagines redemption at the local Battle of the Bands, which for some reason in this movie is in the dadgum middle of the day. And I've never understood why. But joking aside, this movie was actually directed by Richard Linklater, who is well known for the coming-of-age genre. And here's my thing about School of Rock. This is a supremely nostalgic movie for me. I loved watching this growing up as a child. This was one of the few PG-13 movies that I was actually allowed to watch in front of my parents because they found a lot of really endearing qualities about it and some really valuable lessons for anybody to learn. Yeah, sure, you're going to get the lie revealed cliche, of course. But I think screenwriter Mike White handles this cliche in the best possible way. And not only that, but Mike White also appears in this movie as Ned Schneebly, and he does really darn well with the role he's given. This guy is such a doof, just letting the fierce Sarah Silverman walk all over him. This is the movie that introduced me to Sarah Silverman as well. I had no idea that she was a stand-up comic at that time, who is hilarious, might I add. And this is a very different take for her. Granted, Ned and Patty are not in the movie very often, but they are integral to the plot line here. Because Jack Black's character is posing as Mike White in this scenario. And that gives us a brilliant first act, which has a really amazing inciting incident. And it's one of the best inciting incidents of all time in here. Dewey picking up the phone, and on the other end is Joan Cusack as Rosalie Mullins. She offers Ned Schneebly the job, and you know how it goes. Hello, this is Ned Schneebly. Joking aside, though, let's get down to business, shall we? Jack Black is probably one of the more iconic actors of my childhood. He just brings so much energy to everything he does. This is the movie that really introduced me to who Jack Black was as a performer, and this is honestly a perfect fit for him, seeing as how he was in the Tenacious D and everything like that. My God, does he bring so much energy to School of Rock. In my humble opinion, this is one of, if not the greatest performance of Jack Black's career. Because this is a very tough role here. Dewey Finn, deep down, is a con man. He knows he's lying to these kids at first, and this is a colorful cast of kid characters here. I love the drummer, Freddie Jones. May this actor rest in peace, by the way. He was so talented. I love the Bad News Bears vibes I'm getting from him, and just the one-liners he throws out at Jack Black. The curse words, the insults, it's so good. I love our piano player, Lawrence, who is Mr. Cool in Jack Black's eyes. Of course, you have my namesake, Zack Mooneyham, being probably the emotional crux of this child cast. You have Tamika, who has the voice of a young Aretha Franklin, just absolutely gorgeous. Even young Miranda Cosgrove as Summer Hathaway, before she ever became famous for Drake and Josh or iCarly, becoming Nickelodeon's sweetheart for all intents and purposes. She has a really fascinating arc in this movie as well. She goes from uptight, prissy, like, my parents spend like $20,000 a year for this school, and then as the band manager, she is full on, all hands on deck into this. And yeah, Miranda Cosgrove is really good in this film, especially since Richard Linklater basically had to tell her, yeah, you have to be a bad singer. You know what I'm talking about. The first scene where Dewey is putting his kid band together, he's requesting backup singers. Miranda Cosgrove's character raises her hand and says, okay, yeah, I can sing, but there's a problem. The real Miranda Cosgrove has a great singing voice, so she basically had to be taught on set how to sing badly. And oh my God, it leads to so many great results. The comedic moments in this movie, too many to count. My personal favorite, honestly, is when Jack Black's character is singing the song that he wrote to the kids. And when you watch this movie, this is something I didn't even notice until this rewatch, but that whole song is all done in one take. True testament to not only how good Linklater's direction is, but Jack Black's dedication to this performance. So awesome. The scenes where he's teaching the kids, all things considered, are the most interesting parts of the movie for me. I love the scene where they have to stick it to the man. I love the scene where everybody's hurling insults at him. Get out of here, stupid ass. You're a fat loser and you have body odor. Oh man, this movie makes me laugh too much. It really does. And the fact that I'm smiling this much just really goes to show you how much this movie really does mean to me. And that speaks to me. You know, everybody has that one teacher growing up that you just can't help but latch onto and relate to and be like, hey, we come from the same cloth. We know what we both want. In this case, these kids have a teacher that comes from the most unlikely of places, and honestly, the most dastardly of places, if you really think about it. The real Ned Schneebly was cheated out of his hard-earned money. And man, think about it. In 2003, if this wasn't Jack Black playing Dewey Finn, this could have turned out a whole different way, in a way that's a lot less endearing than what we actually got. And I'm so glad I was introduced to this movie at such a young age, because there are so many messages in School of Rock that still strike a chord with me. It just tells me that even though you may be insecure in your own talents, because Dewey basically lives in a fantasy land for the majority of this, he is basically not wanting to hear what is actually the truth. Dewey Finn isn't really that good. As an artist, that is. As a songwriter, he's kind of a bum. But no matter what you may think of yourself and your work, because let's face it, we're all our own worst critics. There's someone out there who thinks your work is talented. God, that's honestly something that, man, I love this movie, guys. I really do. I'm honestly so grateful that I get to help bring this story to the stage tonight. Oh my God. Obviously, School of Rock is one of the most nostalgic movies of my childhood. It's one of my favorite movies of 2003. In my opinion, Jack Black's best performance, perhaps Richard Linklater's best movie, which is insane because Richard Linklater is a legend. Now, I do have to take the rose-colored glasses off, and if I were to nitpick School of Rock for anything, there is one plot line involving a couple of characters that I've alluded to that doesn't really feel like it's wrapped up properly. It feels like something that just ends super abruptly. And this is honestly something that I feel like the musical version fixes. And I'm sorry if I'm being super vague about this, but in case you've never seen School of Rock, I don't want to just go outright and be like, oh, this is how the movie ends, yada yada yada. Because if you've never seen School of Rock, I highly urge you to watch it, not just because of all this gushing I've been doing, Jack Black's performances and the message, but it to me has what I believe to be one of the most perfect endings in movie history. Like, you could not end this movie on a better note than the Battle of the Bands concert, and the screaming and just the rock concert vibes. There's nothing like it. I absolutely adore this movie. I always have. I always will. School of Rock, of course, gets an A+. Mike White, you did it, my friend. Mike White, you did it, my friend. School of Rock is so good. If you've never seen it, what the heck are you even doing? Thank you guys so very much for catching this very surprise video. And a huge shout out to my homies in the School of Rock cast. Happy opening night. I am so excited to bring this story to the stage with each and every single one of you. If you're a new viewer, do consider smashing that subscribe button and hit that notification bell right next to it. That way you guys don't miss a single second of the action from this point forward. And why not? Feel free to throw this video a thumbs up as well on your way out. That would be incredible. And let me know what your favorite rock band of all time is, too. Why not? We don't really talk about music all that much on the channel here. I think you guys can take one wild guess as to who one of my favorite bands is. But of course, stay tuned for more exciting content in all things movies and entertainment right over here on my channel. I will be continuing my Hobbit trilogy of reviews very soon. There's also going to be a bunch of new releases going into the month of September. I'm very excited to look at Pinocchio on Disney Plus, starring Tom Hanks. That should be a lot of fun. And for those of you wondering, yes, I have been watching She-Hulk, and it's really fun. Obviously, loads of fun topics coming up, guys, but y'all are the best. Thank you all so very much again for your continuous support. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.